Scientists believe the universe began with every speck of its energy jammed into a very tiny point. This extremely dense point expanded with unimaginable force, creating matter and propelling it outward to make the billions of galaxies of our vast universe. Astrophysicists dubbed this expansion as the Big Bang.
Hey guys, this is Matt Powell. If I was to tell you that there was a gigantic explosion, one of the first things that you would ask me is, well, what caused it? If I responded back to you and said, well, nothing caused it, nothing caused this explosion, you would say that's crazy.
Who, me? I wouldn't say it's crazy at all. Difficult to comprehend, yes, but certainly not crazy. But, on the other hand, if you were now going to try and tell me that there's a supreme, eternal being who created and preserves all things, would that be crazy? Let's talk about it.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hello everybody, welcome to the first 2021 episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. And in today's episode, with the help of Matt Powell Official of course, we're going to be taking a look at where it all began. The universe, I mean, not my YouTube channel or anything like that. No, but the risk of stating the obvious, Matt Powell is a young earth creationist, Christian, and part of Kent Hovine's gang. He even cites on his YouTube page that he'll be looking into the origins of the universe with the well-known scientist, Dr. Kent Hovine. And I, for one, just hope he's prepared for it. Professor of Philosophy, Barbara Forrest, wrote that Hovine's lack of training made academic discussion impossible, and said that his understanding of historical and scientific research is deficient. And he actually gained his degree from a diploma mill. And a diploma mill, for those who don't know, is a company or organisation that claims to be higher education but just sells degrees for a fee. So now that we've established the quality of the information that Matt Powell is going to provide us with, let's have a look and see what he's got to say about it. Tidy!
If you look at the Big Bang Theory and the atheistic perspective of it, according to them, since there is no God, nothing would have had to create everything.
Nice emphasis on the word theory there, Matt, but why would there be any other perspective? Because according to you and all other young earth creationists, it's only atheists that actually buy into the Big Bang Theory in the first place.
Now, that really shows that professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and that the Bible just comes back right time and time again about these people that claim to be very logical. Who's
the real fool, though? The people that look at the evidence presented by real scientists? Or a person that believes that the Bible, which is basically just a storybook, is the best place to look for evidence about the origins of the universe?
If they can't even get their own creation story somewhat based in logic or science or reason, I don't know why people should put any trust or any faith in what they say.
Well, it's not our story. In fact, it isn't a story at all. It's just what happened. And the reason young earth creationists like you, Matt, choose not to believe it is because it completely destroys everything that you believe in. We don't need faith or belief, because everything we know about how the universe began is based around scientific research and evidence.
And so to say that nothing exploded and created everything, that nothing caused an explosion, is absolutely pathetic.
And if that's your opinion, then tidy. But that isn't what the evidence shows us anyway. It was an expansion, not an explosion. So what do young earth creationists think happened? Well, they think God did it. And to understand why they believe that, we first need to understand why they believe God is who they think he is. Now, some of you will already know that I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, I went to church on Sundays, I was an altar boy, and I managed to survive all that without getting bummed by a Catholic priest even once. I was an ugly child.
The second problem that I have with the Big Bang Theory, and that science has with the Big Bang Theory, is this idea that there was nothing and then an explosion occurred and that there was something.
Yeah, but as I've already said, you guys think God did it. Now, I can't remember much from my time in school, clearly. But the things I do remember from being raised Catholic and going to Catholic school was that the priests used to say that God is everywhere and nowhere. God is everything and nothing. God is a spirit, he's light, he's love, and for some reason he's fire. But the one thing that I definitely do not remember any of those priests telling us was that God's research into science was so accurate that nobody needed to believe anything any other scientist said.
Mathematically speaking and scientifically speaking, the first law of thermodynamics states that matter cannot be created or destroyed.
No it doesn't. The first law of thermodynamics is also known as the law of the conservation of energy. And what it actually states is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Warning.
But
Warning.
it doesn't matter anyway.
So it's scientifically impossible to go from nothing to something.
But it's biblically possible.
Outside force would have had to bring matter into existence.
And let me guess, that outside force would be God?
The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Just as I suspected. So young earth creationists find it, what did he say? Pathetic that we believe that nothing created everything, which isn't what we know to be true anyway. I've already explained this, I'm not doing it again. And yet somehow it's perfectly feasible to them that a magical entity that nobody has any evidence for, nobody's ever seen, interacted with, created the earth as if by magic. Okay.
And so God set the world in motion. God created the heaven and the earth. And God was the force that did that. And you either have to believe that someone created something out of nothing, or that nobody created something out of nothing.
No, you absolutely do not. What you need to do is look at the evidence, study the research, and then decide for yourself which seems more feasible. That the universe was created by the Big Bang, or that the universe was created by a magical man in the clouds at the snap of a finger. Oh yeah, and I don't mean which is the easiest to understand either, because somebody snapping everything into existence, yeah, that's a lot easier to understand than reading about the Big Bang, but that doesn't make it true.
And so those are the first two problems with the Big Bang Theory. And a third problem with the Big Bang Theory is this idea that it created order, and that somehow this explosion out of chaos produced order and planets that are in a perfect orbit. If we live in a universe where things are tending towards disorder, how did we get order in the first place? If an explosion occurred and created order, how did this even come about to begin with?
But how do you know there's order? What, because of the orbits of planets? Planets, stars, galaxies. They don't tell the whole story. Astronomical and physics calculations suggest that the visible universe is only a tiny amount, about 4%. Of what the universe is actually made up of. A very large fraction of the universe, 26%, is made up of an unknown matter called dark matter. And unlike stars, galaxies, planets, dark matter doesn't emit any light or electromagnetic radiation, so we can only tell it's there through its gravitational effects. So how do you know there's order? Where are you getting this information from? Surely not God? I bet it was from that world-famous scientist, isn't it? Dr. Kent Hovind. I bet he knows.
And so these are three big issues with the Big Bang Theory.
3 big issues? Well. I was starting to get a bit worried. I thought you were going to have some actual evidence. Silly me.
And I think it should be rejected by the scientific community. I don't think it has any logical basis.
Well, if somebody from the young earth creationist community thinks that the scientific community should reject the Big Bang, I'll see what I can do.
And people that try to defend the Big Bang Theory will try to redefine the Big Bang as an expansion. They'll say, well, it wasn't really an explosion, it was just an expansion.
Damn, he's on to me. But it wasn't an explosion, it was an expansion. An expansion with unimaginable force, but still an expansion.
But the Big Bang Theory states that the universe went from the size of an atom to the size of our entire universe, our known universe, in a trillionth of a second. So if that's not an explosion, I don't know what is. To be smaller than an atom, and then just go to being as big as our universe in a trillionth of a second, that is an explosion. And the only reason they try to redefine it and say, well, it's an expansion, is just to make it sound like it's not as kooky as it really is.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. We wouldn't want anybody thinking that something kooky or magical created the universe, would we?
And these people that want to make fun of Christianity and mock Jesus and mock the Lord God and come out against Christianity and pretend like they have purpose in their life. You know, if the atheistic worldview is true, and if the Big Bang is true, then what is the meaning of life?
Now I can see all the keyboard warriors now, just about to jump down to the comment section. Oh, Creaky, why do you always make fun of religion? Well, I don't want to. That much. But I'll tell you why I do, even though I don't. If you're following, what gives somebody who believes in God the right to say that somebody who doesn't believe in God has no purpose in their life? None of us would be here if we didn't have a purpose, would we? And saying that we don't just makes you judgmental. Because the actual meaning of life, in my opinion, is to fulfill your purpose. And your purpose in life is whatever you choose, whether that's to be a doctor and save people's lives, be a scientist and make breakthroughs that change people's lives for the better, or to be a dad. They're all purposes in life, and if you, as a Christian, are saying that people who are not believers in God have no purpose in life, well, you can take your God and shove it up your ass. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to give the video a like for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help. And I will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.